Right now on ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock, California now has the lowest COVID transmission rate in the country. The work that lies ahead to keep that rate low and strengthen our economy. Plus,
we have been failed and we deserve answers.
4 elite gymnasts make their voices heard. Their testimony today over the FBI's handling of sexual abuse complaints against Team USA's former doctor Larry Nassar. And the local World War II veteran who witnessed history is laid to rest. We look back at his legacy.
ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
California is making positive strides in the ongoing fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt. The latest CDC map shows our state has the lowest COVID-19 transmission rate in the country. ABC 10 News reporter Nia Watson is joining us now live at Waterfront Park with what's led to the state's progress. Nia?
Yeah, Kimberly, state health officials credit high vaccination rates and mask mandates for the drop in new cases in California. Monday, state epidemiologist Dr. Erica Pan tweeted this out, showing California as one of few states no longer in the CDC's high transmission tier. This is the worst level to be in. Instead, it was listed as substantial in orange. Now, the CDC considers high transmission as having 100 or more cases per 100,000 people and substantial 50 to 100 cases. Now, because of new cases reported today, California moved back into high transmission status, but it is still the state with the lowest rate of spread, with 113 cases per 100,000 people. Today, Governor Gavin Newsom spoke about California's progress at a school event in Alameda County. He says while vaccination rates are high, there's still more work to be done.
You want to get our economy humming again in this country, in this state. We want to keep it sustainably operating at full capacity in every way, shape, or form. We've got to get more people vaccinated. While 82% is impressive in some respects, it's not good enough in others. And so we have more work to do.
Coming up on 10 News at 6, how San Diego County fares to the rest of the state when it comes to the spread of COVID-19. Live at Waterfront Park, Nia Watson, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Nia. And Los Angeles County will issue a new health order Friday requiring proof of vaccination for several indoor settings. Those include bars, wineries, breweries, nightclubs, and lounges. This will apply to customers as well as employees. The county's public health officer says everyone will be required to have at least one vaccine dose by October 7th, the second dose by November 4th. The order will only recommend vaccine verification for indoor portions of the restaurant. LA County will also require proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test for all outdoor events with 10,000 people or more, and that includes sporting events, concerts, and theme parks. 4 U.S. military branches set deadlines for service members to get COVID vaccines. The Army will require all active duty members to be vaccinated by December 15th. National Guard members have until next June 30th. The Army says soldiers who do not comply could face career-ending reprimands depending on their rank. The Air Force set November 2nd as the date for active duty members, and the Navy and Marines both set November 28th as their deadline.
There's new data from Pfizer today as they make a case for COVID booster shots. It shows that based on research from Israel and the U.S., protection wanes starting 6 to 8 months after someone becomes fully vaccinated. The independent committee will decide if boosters should be made available in the United States immediately on Friday. The White House wanted boosters to start next week. Now, more evidence now that the pandemic has contributed to another public health crisis. New federal data shows 16 states have adult obesity rates of 35% or higher, and those are the ones you see in red. That's up from 12 states in 2019 and just 9 states in 2018. The problem exploded over the last 2 decades. You go all the way back to 2000, no state had an obesity rate for adults over 25%, and there are only a handful of areas below 25% today. Those are the ones you see in green. Now, the nonpartisan nonprofit group Trust for America's Health is tracking this issue.
It's about the design of our neighborhoods and ensuring that neighborhoods have walkable paths, bikeable paths, so that people have the ability to engage in physical activity or access to parks and community centers and gyms.
The group says obesity is a systemic, social, and economic issue that the pandemic has made worse. Communities of color have been impacted more. 22 states had adult obesity rates at 35% or higher among Hispanic residents. For Black Americans, it's 35 states.
We see, for example, higher job loss, greater food insecurity in households of color, where Black and Latino households had greater rates of food insecurity, or children who were in virtual learning as opposed to in-person learning with less access to school meals.
The group's report points to larger policy solutions like increasing funding to the CDC's obesity prevention program. The group's president says that program currently only has enough money to support 16 states.
That we should close tax loopholes and business incentives for unhealthy food advertising, which disproportionately is directed to youth of color, in particular Black and Latino youth.
The CDC is now providing community-level data on obesity so it can be addressed on a more local level.
An investigation is underway into what caused this fire that got dangerously close to a business. It broke out in Barrio Logan about 1:30 this afternoon near Bryant and Main Street. Officials tell us the fire is suspected to have started in a homeless camp. Firefighters kept flames away from the business. SDG&E was called to inspect power lines that were above the flames. Final votes are still being counted after Governor Newsom survived yesterday's recall election. About 64% voted no on the recall, 36% voted yes. The election results will be officially certified October 22nd. Today, President Biden offered his congratulations to Newsom's recall election victory. In a statement, he said, in part, the fact that voters in both traditionally Democratic and traditionally Republican parts of the state rejected the recall shows that Americans are unifying behind taking these steps to get the pandemic behind us. 4 elite gymnasts testified on Capitol Hill today over the FBI's botched investigation into former Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar. They say he sexually abused them, but institutions, including the FBI, failed to protect them. As Isabel Rosales reports, senators are examining how the agency botched its investigation into the now convicted Nassar.
We have been failed, and we deserve answers.
Simone Biles, Maggie Nichols, Michaela Maroney, Allie Raisman.
It disgusts me that we are still fighting for the most basic answers and accountability over 6 years later.
These elite gymnasts testifying after a July Justice Department Inspector General report found FBI officials failed to respond to allegations with urgency and seriousness and violated multiple policies while investigating former Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar.
I am haunted by the fact that even after I reported my abuse, so many women and girls had to suffer at the hands of Larry Nassar.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle demanding answers and change at the FBI.
It's not only that the FBI failed to do its job systematically and repeatedly, it is also the cover-up.
The FBI failed to protect our athletes.
Current FBI Director Christopher Wray apologized to survivors of Nassar's abuse and said he has begun to implement the changes recommended in the IG's report.
The actions and inaction of the FBI employees detailed in this report are totally unacceptable.
These athletes are urging the federal prosecution of those who lied and delayed in bringing Nassar to justice.
I am tired of waiting for people to do the right thing because my abuse was enough and we deserve justice.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
In less than an hour, history will be made. SpaceX will launch the first all-civilian crew into space for a multi-day trip. It's the first time this has ever happened. Here is a live look now from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. The crew of 4 features a billionaire, a cancer survivor, a geologist, and a raffle winner. They're set to launch at 5 p.m. our time.
Topping the news feed, many families can expect extra money in their bank accounts soon. Another round of child tax credit payments are going out today. The IRS plans on sending 3 more payments this year. Now, encouraging. That's how President Biden described a special 6-month period to sign up for private health insurance coverage. Nearly 3 million people took advantage of the opportunity that opened under the president's COVID-19 relief law. New numbers show the rise in coronavirus cases nationwide is impacting travel. The TSA reporting around 1.3 million people passed through checkpoints yesterday, which is the lowest since May 5th.